Thing.
Monique, we're live. You need to do the intro.
I don't know how to do the intro.
Just say hi and set up where the scene is.
Okay. Hi. Well, the scene is in the haven where Katrina stays, I suppose. They'll be having a small tea party, the two ladies, and talk about what they need to talk about regarding the structure of the Camarilla and whatnot, things that Katrina wouldn't know.
Sigh. Having a tea party at one of Francis Haven's. You're at a table in a lovely looking dining room. There you go. Boom. You're both there together.
And I have a nice little briefcase with me. So, are we starting at the door or inside the table?
Pardon?
We're starting at the door or inside at the table?
You're at a table. You're having
Okay.
tea.
Well, not really tea, just sitting because we can't drink tea.
Sucks to be you guys.
Yeah. So, Katrina, how have you been the last few days?
Much better. The shock from the attack is definitely worn off and feels like it's almost a distant memory now, and I'm back in my own place for the most part. Still spending time at the Haven with the others, but it's nice to be back home. How about you?
I'm better, a lot better. Thank you for asking. I think I'd say fully recovered. There's no uh, issues there at the moment. Um, I was just wanted to, have a chat, just the two of us, since we're among the youngest ones around. I think
Yes, it
someone,
seems like
please go ahead.
everyone else has been around for quite a while, and I think a while is an understatement for some of them.
Yeah, that's true. I guess, yeah, you know how it is. Oh, you don't know how it is. That's why we're here. uh, just there are some things that you need to keep in mind so that you can keep yourself protected, so to speak. Because the elders, they don't really see us not as equals, not close to that. They usually see us as grunts or cannon fodder, and I really don't want that. Personally, I don't want that for you. So you just have to understand that they always playing games, always scheming. So you have to have your eyes open, your ears open, and try to keep yourself in a more protected environment, if you know what I mean. Don't throw yourself into conflicts that don't concern you necessarily.
Too bad she's being mentored by a guy who's playing games, huh?
Tell me, are you familiar with chess and how that works?
Me, yes.
That's great because I think a visual representation of what we say might be a bit more easy to understand. So Monique will open that briefcase and she'll take out a nice chessboard. It's ebony and alabaster and just put it on the table. And then there are two baggies, uh, two velvet baggies. She will give one to Katrina and she will open the other one and start setting up the pieces on the board. And they're really nice. They're like glass, uh, clear one and tinted one with a little bit of felt on the bottom. Real nice.
Katrina will continue setting up her end. The pond always the last bit to set up.
So what we'll do, we're not actually going to play. What we'll do is pretty much explain what we see on the board as a representation of the organization that we have. And you see most of the pieces on the board are pawns.
Yes.
You don't want to be a pawn. You understand that, right?
Yes, and that's the fact that you only get to go one way, and it's very easy to get jumped or kicked off.
Yes, exactly. So you definitely don't want to be there or remain there like at all. So what do we do to get you to a different level? First, you have to ask yourself, what do you want to be?
At this point, anything but a pawn.
Yeah, but
Obviously, the most
look, everything
attractive.
comes with complications,
Yeah.
let us say. Like, I think I see myself as a rook, perhaps. Fairly protected, needs a tower after all. Going to straight lines, not interfering with anyone, to stay in a protected position as much as possible. And perhaps this is where you need to be, at least at first, until you progress yourself and increase your power and realize your power.
What kind of powers do you mean?
Well, I mean, it's different for everyone. It depends on what you want to do with your existence, I suppose. I mean, for us storytellers, the easiest way is to rely on our status and our knack for politics, I suppose, and just get higher on the ladder that way. For others, it might be more based on combat or negotiation. It's different. That depends on you and what you're good at and what you're willing to do. I don't know. Where do you see yourself in, I don't know, 50 years?
I honestly can't even imagine right now. Like, usually I would see myself, like, probably retiring. But now, I don't think that's ever gonna happen.
Yeah,
Um,
that plan is probably scrapped from the get-go. You need
yeah,
to,
you look looking 23 forever. That or excuse me, 27 forever. That's not gonna lend
well,
me to retire
that's the
anytime soon.
plus.
What now?
That's a plus. You're gonna get to look 27 forever. However, it's not going to
True, but
be that you don't grow internally.
yeah, but part of growing old is getting to retire. um, I don't know. Maybe eventually owning a practice.
Well, yeah, that's a good goal to have.
Yeah, so I
Or
could
even to. remaining alive would be a good one as well.
True, true.
So in order to get there, we need to make sure that you know how to do it. Because let me tell you, you might have been lucky with the Santisol, but if you pull that thing on others, it might not end up well, and I don't want that to happen. So we have to keep you at a okay level of etiquette when it comes to specific people,
That
especially
would
powerful ones.
that would be helpful. As for mortal etiquette, I'm quite well versed in it, but
Nah, mortals aren't a problem. I mean,
yeah.
mortals will be easy for you to control in many ways. That's not the issue here. The issue for us that are younger than most is our elders, pretty much. They didn't really consider us. They don't want to allow us a agency if they can help it. We're just, you know, playthings sometimes. But
In
in order
most
to avoid
situations, I
that,
would. What now?
no, please go ahead.
In most situations, a plaything would not be a positive, positive
Well,
nickname or title. So,
yeah, you
yeah,
have to
that's not gonna be
understand
good.
that unless you increase your status enough to be in a position of respect, or at least being considered somewhat equal to the ones in charge, it won't be positive. And in order to do that, at least what works well for me, what works is trying to get to be on the good side of people, I suppose. It helps that I have the sire that I have. That certainly helps. But in your situation, I mean, you do have an advantage at the moment. I mean, your mentor is pretty high up there, so that's helpful to you.
That yes, that's a stroke of luck, honestly.
Well, yes, if it wasn't him, it would be someone else from the clan, to be sure. But the fact that it's him, I mean, it could have been the Primogen too, and I would really suggest to become more friendly with her when you have time.
How would one go about that?
Well, I guess I can help you in that department. I can arrange a meeting between the three of us if you want, or maybe a full clan meeting if that's what you prefer.
That would be a bit less pressure. The more people there.
Well, yeah, it might be a bit overwhelming to you to see that many people. I mean, okay, your first appearance in the court was pretty overwhelming. I mean, even for us that have been around. So it's up to you, whatever you want to do.
I would definitely like a meeting arranged for that. That would be anything to get to, as for right now, get on the good side of people and try to scurry across the board at some pace.
Well, admitting amongst our clan members would be a good place to start because this is where you want to start. I mean, even myself, I don't have much connections outside of the clan. I'm now starting to build that up as well, so we can help each other in that regard. And I mean, I do have the advantage of my sire, but
Who is your side?
if you're there with me, you probably can take advantage of that as well. In any
That
case,
would
let's go
be
back to the board
okay.
and let's see how I can explain to you different. dynamics there. I mean, okay, and take that with a grain of salt because this is like my personal understanding of how the structure works. Like, for example, I would consider my sire and the primogen like the bishops, you know, they move diagonally across the board among other clans, diplomats, that kind of thing.
All right.
This is how I would understand it. As for the sheriff, I would probably say he's a knight with great potential there. The thing that I do hesitate of talking about, though, is the other parts, the king and queen, because there are certain implications if you make that analogy, if you understand what I mean.
The king and queen are usually an item.
No. The
Door, the
queen.
door to Francis' house opens.
What?
The door to Francis's haven opens.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you. You're mumbly.
Uh, the door to Francis's haven opens.
And he's barging in.
Yeah, and if you go to take a look, you'll see that it is Francis.
Good evening,
Well, good
Francis.
evening.
Evening, Katrina. Monique.
How are you doing?
Well, received some troubling news, but, well,
Nothing new
that
there, I
is,
suppose.
I was going to say, that is the norm. How about you two?
Just having a little chat about the basic structures of our organization and how those work. Would you like to join us? And, well, your input in this and your perspective would be greatly appreciated.
Of course, I see you've got a chessboard out but aren't playing, which means you're likely making some sort of highly
Yeah.
antiquated metaphor about our society.
Oh, highly antiquated. Well, I'm just trying to make it easier to comprehend. I'm just having trouble explaining the whole queen and king thing. I don't want to. Ah, well,
That's the problem, there is no queen, there is only a king.
that's not true. See, that's the problem. I don't think you understand the metaphor there.
Do you intend to
Because
say that the queen is the seneschal?
well, probably,
Probably.
probably.
I feel like I'm covering your analogy for you because you haven't come up with a way to continue it.
No, I have a way to continue it. What I don't want is to give wrong impressions about things, because that brings us to the king, and we do not want to make an analogy between the prince and the king on the chessboard, do we?
Why?
Because
From
of the king's limited range, mostly. I mean, he will have ears. I wouldn't want to go on the prince's bad side for making that
true.
analogy.
He is as far-reaching as the Queen, but is as critical a piece on the board as the King.
I'd say the Queen is far more critical to the board overall. It's what protects the king.
But the Prince does not necessarily need protecting in the way that the King does, as we've already discussed. The Prince's range is much far-reaching, like that of the Queen's. Although I could say the same for the Seneschal in this city.
Yeah, that's true. But in a sense, it is quite similar because all the pieces on the board are working to keep the king safe. So they're working for the king.
Unless you're
So that,
Sabat
well,
or the
I, I,
Animals,
ha-
in
I
which case
haven't
you just
gone
flip the
there.
board.
Yeah, we're talking about structure. Why would you bring up Sabbath? There's no structure there.
On the contrary, they're quite structured. Similar,
Well, I
they
wouldn't
are the
know.
inverse to us, whereas we hide violence via politics, they hide politics via violence. They put on the barbaric face so that they may hide their greater intellect and capacity to scheme and strategize, whereas we bear it openly while hiding our capacity for strength and military mobilization. We hide it behind bureaucracy.
It can never be simple.
No. Kindred life is one of stirring into wheels that exist within wheels that exist within more wheels. It
Don't you
is,
get tired of that?
from time to time, but it also means you never run out of things to do. It just comes down to knowing which a web to tread, because you never know which one may have a spider waiting on it.
I mean, in that case, I think it pays if you're being the spider, I suppose.
I am one of a sort, but there are spiders larger and more frightening than me. Why, it could be argued we have a black widow in the city right now.
Hmm.
But well,
Let's not talk about that.
he smiles a bit too much. So you've
Yeah.
been using this board as an analogy.
Well, as a visual representation, more like. Care to tell me if you agree with that, with what I already deducted from it?
It makes a vague degree of sense.
One thing I've learned about you all, you have an affinity for analogies and wordplay.
There is one correct matter, however, in this analogy. And that is this: he puts 2 pawns on the board. These are you two.
Can you speak up a bit?
He says there is one correct aspect of this analogy, however, and he puts 2 pawns on the board and he says, these are you two.
How nice of you.
It sounds rude, but denying your state of position, denying your state of being within this society is more likely to get you killed than being self-aware of it. You are young and less powerful and thinner-blooded than your sires.
That might be the case. However, how we choose to conduct ourselves doesn't need to reflect that.
But you remain at the bottom
And
of the totem pole regardless. You are still working your way up. And until then, You are the individuals on the ground. You are the, I hesitate to say grunts, but foot
Well,
soldiers, the
would
political
you
staffers.
really consider either of us being sent out as foot soldiers?
It will happen at some point. The Anarchs are at war with us, and the Sabbats have a dire chess just outside the city.
I have played a few games of chess where the pawn killed the king, so.
That's the great thing about chess. That's the great thing about kindred society. Sometimes pawns kill kings. So while you may be vastly weaker, and in not just in a supernatural sense, but in a political sense, than your superiors, that doesn't mean you are toothless. It just means you have to be very careful about where you move because you don't have a lot of space. You don't have a lot of room to screw up. The problem is it gets even worse when you get older. They say you don't have a lot of room to screw up. And you don't, this is kindred society. But you do have some room to screw up. If you're an elder, or even an anciller, like me, and I'm fairly old as an anciller, I will soon be an elder. But the longer time goes, the more complex this world will become, which means there is more room for error.
That's slightly comforting.
No, I say more room for error in that you are in a position to make more mistakes.
I take that back then.
The kindred that you see
Ah,
are those that have either survived making those mistakes or ones that have made none. Which means they're either very, very hardy and very, very dangerous, or extremely intelligent, or both. I
I
like
don't
to
know.
think,
Sometimes I just wish we would just be left alone to just live our existence and be happy with it. But
yes,
no, we'll have to be drugged into games that have been going on for centuries.
well, you can see why I try and keep you out of it as much as possible. As you grow older, you'll become more capable of indulging in these schemes and plots and plans, and you will likely have some of your own. You already have some of your own. It starts off small. It's like the pyramid of needs. Katrina, you're a fledgling, so right now your first thoughts are, I need a place to stay in the sunlight, I need to feed. Base survival. Not really a lot of time for politics, because you're busy trying to learn the ins and outs of society and just not die. Is that correct? Would that be a fair statement?
I would think so.
But once you've established yourself, you have a haven, you have a herd you can feed regularly, then maybe thoughts from your mortal life begin to surface, or maybe thoughts begin to surface as to what you can do with your new immortality. Maybe you begin to experiment with your powers, you begin to ghoul a few mortals, get a few connections with local industry, the nightlife, the police, the military. And then as you develop that, well, suddenly you're quite well off. It's surprisingly easy to make a living as a kindred. Don't have to buy food, drink. Electricity is much less of an issue. Heating.
Clothes, however.
But you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
As time goes on, as you establish yourself, as you meet your own needs, you begin to become more ambitious. It's natural. The problem is when you try to skip some of those steps. It has happened. There have been fledglings and neonates that have punched above their weight and succeeded. But most of them fail, more die, and those that do succeed, most of them often have a hand from those, well, that they're not even aware of. I do not believe there to be an anarch revolt in world history that has not been influenced by an elder or Methuselah of some kind or another. But now I'm skipping steps. I think we're just overcomplicating things for you. The simple truth is that you're at the bottom of the totem pole for now. And once you're a neonate, you'll have some freedom. And you'll know a bit more, and you'll be able to move around a bit. You'll be able to, by and large, do as you wish. You'll be able to, well, I say establish yourself. You already have a herd.
That wasn't the most difficult thing to get.
And it's not. You need to just give yourself a bit of time.
Well, the main thing for Katrina at the moment is probably to just observe. Try to be present in many functions so she can see for herself how things work without being directly involved.
That's usually the best approach. Well, I should ask Katrina, what do you wish to do once you're a neonate?
What do I wish to do? What?
What do you wish to do once you're released from my care and are a full independent neonate? It's often rare that fledglings are actually asked what they want to do. So I thought I'd break the mold a little bit.
I honestly don't know. As far as like my life and career, I would like to eventually have uh, ownership of a practice so I can step back and enjoy myself. But I don't see that happening for quite a while.
Ghoul an existing one, or use your disciplines to maybe influence them into
What you
granting you a
will
position of
notice,
power.
what you will notice is that it's a lot easier to establish yourself professionally being a kindred than it was being immortal.
It's all
There are
about,
tricks you can use, yes.
I don't know how to use these disciplines. I don't even really know what they are.
Okay.
Francis froze.
That's a big.
Are you able to perceive auras yet?
No, wait, let's start from the beginning, if she does not even know what disciplines are.
She probably knows some of her powers, just doesn't know how to define them.
Well,
So,
let's
what?
define them.
Yes.
Real quick, out of character. Katrina has 2 dots and everything now in all the 3 clan disciplines.
Okay.
But like I'm playing it as like she doesn't really know exactly what they are. She doesn't know what they do. She's just like, oh, that person has a weird glow around them. Must be my eyesight. Like,
We need.
you know
This
what
will
I
be
mean?
easier in an open space. Follow me. We're going outside. We'll get the obvious one out of the way first.
The
He literally.
senses.
Oh no. There's a reason I'm
Oh.
giving myself some space. And all of you. Follow me.
Okay. Come
Head
on.
up. Head out to the back.
What?
It's just I assume everybody heads out to the back garden.
Oh.
This will become obvious in a moment. Basically, Katrina, there are many disciplines. I do not know them all because there are many of them, and many of them are closely guarded secrets of their respective clans. But every clan has a certain, I suppose you could say, set of disciplines that they're particularly adept with, ones that come naturally to them. Like an inheritance.
You have actually used one of them already, Katrina, at the auditorium. That was, I suppose, purely instinct when you needed to land from the balcony up there. Do you know
Wait,
how you did that?
what did she do?
So you accelerated land when we were at the theater.
Oh, okay. I don't know how I did that.
Well, it was
It's
instinct kicking in at that point.
You'll find your physical powers might come earliest and soonest, for they are simple to learn. We Toreador are possessed with one known as celerity, unnatural speed, grace, precision. You might have noticed that you can move much faster than when you're immortal, even if it's slight, or that you're capable of acrobatic or performative feats that you wouldn't have been able to do when you were a human, such as dancing. You might dance to the level of an Olympian without any effort. That is the effect of celerity. It is the speed and grace that really exemplifies our clan in many ways.
Okay, I've been shaving off like a good 15 seconds on my runs, but I was never much of a dancer, so I doubt I have the feet for it.
But celerity will help. You are only shaving off 15 seconds because you are not using it to its greatest extent. You are merely relying on its passive abilities. Allow me to show you what you can do when you unleash. And he will actually
Showing off now.
an example. To observe directly helps anyone in learning. And he spends a
Indeed.
plot point, and like a blur, he moves around you. He's literally like a blur. He moves probably over 100 miles an hour at least. And it's not like he accelerates. He's just at 100 miles an hour now. It's like 0 to 100 instantaneously. So it's very jarring. It's almost like he blinks from one location to another.
Katrina's just gonna stare for a second, just like, um, what was that now?
Celerity. Focus, channel the blood inside of yourself, and you'll be able to do something similar. Not to the same degree that I can. I have mastered the art, as most kindred will understand, although because of my blood I am capable of ever so slightly more. But focus on your blood. Focus on the movement.
I'm gonna roll to see how many points I have for this scene, and then see if she can actually do something with it.
Oh no, you start with 5 plus your herd rating and blood.
It's what now?
What are you rolling for?
To see how many blood points she has.
Oh, you don't need to roll for that. You in this game, you start with 5 at the start of every scene, plus your herd rating.
Uh-huh.
So what's your herd rating?
I have 1 dot in herd.
Okay, then you have 6 blood.
Okay.
So you won't get hungry just by doing it this one time.
Okay. So what would she just like loses 1 point to do that?
Yeah,
Okay, and she doesn't have to roll to see if she can do it or not?
no, a lot of the physical disciplines are basically just spend a blood point and you're fine.
Okay, well she'll do that and then like uh move at I don't know like 20 miles an hour like to the other part of the room.
Yeah, your movement speed effectively doubles. So you go like 20, 30, maybe if you're particularly fast, 40 miles an hour. In like, again, instantaneously, there's no acceleration. It's just you're now going at 40 miles an hour.
Okay, and she's gonna just like look back at both of them like, that was insane.
And Monique is just smiling at her.
Then there is.
Well, before you do that, perhaps you should explain when she can use celerity. Because this is a very masquerade breaking ability if you
Yes.
do it in front of mortals.
Yes, do not use this in front of mortals. I think that goes without saying, as most people are going to question you in moving at inhuman speeds on a dime. And of course, as the sheriff, it's my responsibility to make sure that gets cleaned up.
No problem, I won't be using it. Unless absolutely necessary, and certainly not when people are around.
Yes. And to be careful when you use it like that, not only because it endangers the masquerade, but because, as I'm sure you're aware, you can feel maybe feel a certain rumbling in your chest, or your throat seems a little bit sore, or maybe you just seem a bit more flustered than you were before. You will that is the sense of hunger. Using your blood like that to power celerity or any physical discipline will rouse your hunger, and that can drive
That
you to great acts of violence. So always be sure that when you use your powers, you can restrain yourself from losing control.
okay, that explains why I suddenly started craving French fries.
Well, it's a
I
bit
know what I'm
different.
feeding
Like,
her tonight.
it's a really different thing, however, and can be very dangerous. You really don't want to tempt the beast to come out.
Yes, it is always something to be mindful of when you use your powers. I won't have you use presence tonight, as that also requires use of the blood, but I can explain it to you. Anyways, celerity is very useful. It's it's our only physical discipline. Given that it's used for running, it's very good for removing
Getting
yourself
out of
from a
the
dangerous
way.
situation, but it's also good for performance. It's good for acrobatics. It's good for combat, as being able to cut someone to pieces 5 times when they can only make a single strike is, needless to say, fairly useful. It
It
also
does
helps with your
seem.
sense of precision, your hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, I have been able to catch everything I've dropped since the embrace. So that helped explain it a little bit. I thought I was just getting a little bit quicker, but now there's
No,
a
Well,
reason for it.
if this happens while you're at work, I would suggest to let it drop. whatever it is.
Unless it involves unnatural speed, you'll be fine. It's hardly unheard of for someone to catch something as they're falling after all.
Yes,
True.
it hasn't ever been like what I just did. It's just been noticing something's falling and being able to just catch it quickly.
Hmm.
Whereas usually I'm little on the clumsy side.
And sometimes it can be quite a powerful thing to have over a mortal, to let it slip that you might be a little bit more than you actually are, obviously, not what you are.
I don't know, I'm personally very paranoid. Because as you said, if you were clumsy before and with super fast reflexes now, it might raise some eyebrows. I don't expect them to actually think that you're anything supernatural, but it brings attention to yourself that you might not necessarily need.
Just say you've just say you've been to the gym. Honestly, it more or less settles all those issues.
Yeah, martial arts. Something along those lines, I suppose.
But
That would
yes,
work.
all I'd all I'd say is be mindful when you use it in the way you just did. That's really the only warning I can give you. The hunger it causes and the fact that it's a masquerade breach. But other than that, there is another thing. You may have noticed when you used celerity that you didn't feel, perhaps, that you're going that much faster than your voice would be. You wouldn't have felt the air resistance.
Perhaps you feel that the world is just moving slower, not the other way around.
Oh, okay.
That is because celerity does not carry momentum. If you move extremely quickly to try and go for a wall, you will hit the wall, you will fall over, and it will hurt. You can't run up the wall, you can't break through the wall. If you try and punch something and try to carry that momentum that you have to celerity, it will not work. Celerity does not carry momentum, it breaks the laws of physics. So while you will not catch on fire while you're going at hundreds of miles an hour, it also does not mean you are any stronger than you normally are, because you do not generate momentum or kinetic force in the same way that you do when you move normally.
That's good to know.
I personally have always believed it was a safety measure built into the discipline itself. Because, of course, if we did carry momentum, we'd very much be on flames, and, well, that's something of a bane for our kind.
Yeah, flames, bad. Stay away.
Right, well, we'll get to that in a moment. There is the two other disciplines left to cover. Now that we've dealt with celerity, presence. I shan't use this because, well, it
I
involves
also,
manipulating you. It alters your emotional state.
and I wouldn't suggest you using them on other kindred, at least for now. But on humans, knock yourself out.
Yes, it's a subtle power, but for those in the know, they can suss it out, and yes, they will retaliate. But needless to say, presence is the art of manipulating one's emotions. You can bend a room to however you want it to feel about you. If you want people in a room to be applauding you, to fear you, to love you, that is what presence allows you to do. You can invoke the fear of God into a mortal or have them become your willing servant in a matter of 3 seconds.
That could be useful.
At its highest level, you will have your worst enemies eating out of your hands, for they both fear and love you so much. You can even summon people from vast distances towards you. For I am not particularly adept at this particular art, I am moderately advanced in it. But I think you'll find you will develop more than quickly enough to catch up to me. I've always heard it rumored that the most powerful monks can bend entire cities to their will, even from Corbu. But that's neither here nor there. Again, maybe in a safe environment, channel your blood and see if you can grab the attentions of mortals that aren't particularly well disposed towards you, or those that are. See if you can get them to like you. Maybe use it as a means to feed from them.
Okay, that could be really helpful, honestly.
It's a very powerful tool you have. The Ventru possess the same ability, so be careful with them. They combine it with their own power known as Dominate, but I won't go into that. Not yet. So once we have presence out the way, we have our final ability, or rather the one that you possess, is known as Auspex. Also known as the sixth sense for sight, voyeurism, as some more cynical kindred refer to it as.
Wait, what now?
Voyeurism, some cynical kindred refer to it as.
That has a very different term than what I think you're using it for, that I know it of. What are you using it for?
You can
I
use it
mean,
for anything you want, honestly. You can use it so you can see better, hear better, smell better, feel better.
I do not kid you when
It's
I say
just
kindred say it's voyeurism, but it's as Monique says.
like, look over there, and I'm showing across to some other building. If you focus yourself, your sight, you will be able to enhance your vision and see closer what's happening over there. That's why they might call it voyeurism, but it can be very useful when you need to either gather information or to have better visibility, even in survival situations. It's not necessarily used for bad things.
It is, I suppose it is the art of gathering information. It is granting your soul supernatural senses. It is expanding your mind beyond its physical borders to perceive more. Eventually, you will start with simply your senses becoming enhanced, being able to see further, hear further, feel more, smell more, taste more. Then you will begin to see colours in people, their auras, your senses extending beyond the physical and into the ethereal. Then you'll be able to pick up the resonance from an object, its past, its favoured users, the relationship between the item and its owner, the events it has been in, the murders it was used for. Then you'll be able to extend your mind so far as to touch the mind of someone else.
what would that do?
One second. Um, Katrina, you begin to feel a certain cloudiness in your mind. It's a very strange sensation. But you can feel something trying to connect to it or press up against it. You're not really sure, but the question is, do you allow it to do so?
What, is she feeling this now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're being mind fucked.
And though Francis does not speak, you feel a thought being projected into your mind, both audible, it's both auditory and visual. And you just kind of see Francis on kind of like a white room, and he just says, "Well, good evening. It's rather busy in here, despite the rather empty backdrop."
I guess this is what it does. What are you? What's
Maybe
happening?
telepathic contact. One of the more advanced powers one has when they study Auspex. The final power is to project one's soul out of their body entirely. I could probably circumnavigate the Earth in a night if I did so, although I'd rather not. Sunlight and all.
What was the last thing you said?
He would say I could probably circumnavigate the Earth if I in astral form, but I'd rather not. Sunlight than all. But anyways, I shall not stay here too long after all. I don't wish to overstay my welcome inside your head, so unless you have anything to share, of course, by all means, it's certainly the place and time. By the way,
Well, I
only
do
Katrina can
think.
hear this.
Oh, okay.
It's telepathic contact,
Oh,
so
that
it's
house.
completely silent. So Francis does nod to Monique as if, like, he's done a thing.
Is there a way to prevent this from happening? Like, to stop this? Like, if I were to get you out right now, or is he already out?
Depends on the skill of the user. I'm fairly skilled. Also depends on the strength of your own will. It's not particularly easy. I am not reading your mind, it should be noted. I am projecting my own thoughts into it, which is a lot easier and a lot less harmful. Although I can think of a few cruel uses for it. It's very benign.
Let's not.
If it's any solace, breaking into a vampire's mind, or a kindred, to use the appropriate term, is a lot harder than interfacing with a mortal. It takes a lot of will and a bit more effort. And as I'm sure you're aware, the thoughts I'm projecting into your mind, you should be subconsciously aware are not your own. You may not be able to always stop someone from reading your mind, but generally your subconscious will protect your greater secrets, and you'll know if you're on the lookout, if you're smart, you will know when someone's trying to break in, but it can be quite subtle, so be careful. And only allow people into your mind that you trust. Because I could have taken this moment to be rather unfair to you, but of course, that is not my intent. Just be careful when people ask you to do the same thing that I'm doing to you right now.
Understood.
One could say it's a very intimate thing to allow someone into your head.
Let's not go there right now.
Fair.
How did this stop?
Only I can stop it as I'm the one who reached out to your mind. So I'll be doing that now. But yes, you can't forcibly break a connection without, well, destroying the one who did it or knocking them into unconsciousness. Which is quite difficult to do to a kindred. Anyways, I am outstaying my welcome, and he will cut a foot. And he will just say, see you in a moment, and he cuts off the telepathic communication. So as you can see, Specs allows you to sharpen your mind, reach out. At the highest of levels, you can reach out. It no longer becomes just perceptive. As I've just shown to you, I can interact with, through my mind, with other things, with you.
It's very jarring, to put it lightly.
Yeah, perhaps we should take this one step at a time and don't completely freak her out with the
What
abilities
now?
of Auspix just yet.
Okay, let's start
Because
with something more simple then, because I wouldn't expect you to be able to read minds yet. But you might be able to perceive my aura.
How would I do that?
Concentrate on me. Look into my eyes. Not like that. The eyes are the windows into the soul. Focus on my eyes. Focus on stripping away the layers of what you physically see. Try and reach out with your sight. If you concentrate, it should come naturally.
So as she does this, she kind of zones out, and her eyes kind of blur a bit, and then they come back into focus, and she sees something around him, like a glow stick. I mean, like, you know how when you break a glow stick and it glows a little bit on the outside, like the stick itself glows, and then there's like that little bit of light from it.
Yeah,
That's
roll
kind of
me
what she sees on the outside, except like I don't know what colors it would be. So
your perception empathy difficulty 6.
how many d6?
What is your perception rating?
Let me go back. Let me go see. One sec.
Because it's
I
your
think it's
perception plus your empathy.
Perception is a 2, empathy is a 2, so it's 4d10.
And you have all specs 2, so that reduces the difficulty from 8 to 6.
Okay. Four d10. I got a 9 and an 8, and then a 5 and a 4.
Okay, so you get 2 successes, so you can see the shade of his aura and the primary color. But it's difficult for you to make out anything else, so you will see
That he's a vampire. I mean, that's the shade bit, right?
You will see a pale aura of a pale pink aura.
Okay, I don't even know where there they are.
Yeah, keep in mind that Katrina wouldn't necessarily know what the colors mean.
yeah, we'll probably go through them with
Yeah. No, but like I'm looking at them to see what they are. It's like, okay, what would the? She's gonna ask like, what would the color pink mean?
What's
It
its
means
before we answer? What was the shade?
It light, like it's been washed out.
a pale aura.
Yes.
Then let us
That
start with that.
means that means that the person you're looking at is kindred. This is very useful to know. Also, would be useful to know what the auras of other supernaturals look like, so you can avoid them at all costs, pretty much.
But yes, a pink aura generally indicates.
Compassion.
Thank you. I didn't want to sound patronizing.
It doesn't sound patronizing.
Still, stating that I am compassionate as well could easily come across as very arrogant and rude. So, better that someone else
The
just
big bad sheriff is so scared of being compassionate. I'm shocked.
Well, I don't think this is the issue here.
not scared, rather wary of sounding unduly overconfident. But yes.
I mean, you're wary of sounding human.
Oh no, humanity is quite important.
What now?
Oh no, one's humanitas is quite important, but one that, in spite of my rather bloody profession, I have stuck quite rigorously to. But it isn't about sounding or not sounding human. It's about coming across as arrogant and entitled. In any case, if you saw one
But
shade
we're
of my aura,
Toreadors, so entitled would be what's expected of us in any case. So.
let's leave such stereotypes to the venture. They certainly earned it a lot more than we have.
Y'all hang on 1 second.
No problem.
I had to yell at the dogs.
Doggos. Cute doggos. Yes.
So, if I can tell you one thing about auras, if you see a bright and vibrant one, run.
What does that mean?
It means you're
It
up
means
against a
run.
it means you're up against a lupine, a werewolf.
Okay.
They're extremely dangerous even for kindred as old as me. I could probably kill one, but they tend to move in groups. And the fact that it's taken me a century to say I could confidently kill one should speak volumes as to how dangerous they are. They generally stick to the rural areas of the world, the countryside. There's not many of them in cities.
Okay, so they're real too. That's
Yes.
beautiful.
And they're about as short-tempered as us from what I hear, but I have interacted with them about once in 200 years, so there's
Thankfully,
that.
it's not something that you will come across. Like,
Noted.
yeah, I've never seen one. I just studied in theory what I need to know in order to avoid them.
Needless to say, if you see one, if you see such a bright aura, it is either a lupine, potentially something else. Your best bet is to simply remove yourself from the situation immediately. Then there are others. There is, if you see an aura with rainbow hues, it is likely to be a fae. Again, remove yourself from the situation. They are inconsistent. Some are very approachable, others are very dangerous. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't take any chances. Then there are...
Okay, so you've gotten vampires,
Oh fuck.
werewolves, and now Fae. What are you gonna tell me next? Demons are real?
Well, yes.
Well,
Yes. I would like to say that one of the most dangerous kindred in the city currently is an infernalist, so yes.
Oh, son of a bitch.
I mean, you experienced that firsthand.
I'm
That was
going
a
to...
fucking demon?
He even had his hands on you.
That
He's
was a
not...
fucking demon?
No, he's a kindred who works with demons and is empowered by them. He's made deals with them. We kill kindred who make deals with demons. We kill people who make deals with demons. And if they make their way onto this earthly plane, we kill the demons.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So don't ever think to even approach one.
I have no intention to.
You guys,
Also, out of character, I heard your ass laughing. That was perfect.
no, it was just because I walked in right as you were like, "Do demons exist?" I was like, "Ah!"
I like I've read that they're like out of character. I've read that like they're part of the world of darkness. So like she's gonna ask if they fucking exist, expecting a no.
But
So,
fuck.
are you in one of Francis? Are you in one of your nice havens again?
we're actually in the back garden, we were briefly experimenting with celerity, so we can actually go back inside now.
Oh no, continue outside for the next 30 seconds.
God,
Oh
fuck.
Jesus.
Oh fuck.
Uh,
God damn it.
Francis will just say, but I'm serious. They're extremely dangerous, and it is something of a career of mine to kill them. And one of their most loyal servants is here. And Francis's aura has changed to very lavender. And no, it's turned to very purple. Don't ask about demons in front of kindred. Don't talk about them unless they're discussed directly in front of you. In which case, just avoid the topic, because you're more than likely just going to draw suspicion on yourself. They're a sore sort for kindred.
She's Katrina's gonna mention she's like Francis, your colors are changing.
Purple aggression. i.e. I'm
Well,
serious.
yeah. It is a
Okay.
serious topic.
Anyhow,
Yeah, Katrina's gonna like kind of shake her head to see if she can just like stop seeing it for a bit.
you can turn off awfully, yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna try and shut that off and then just like back up.
But demons don't necessarily show up in one's aura. But you may see sparkles, electricity in someone's aura. That means they possess some form of magic, be it blood, sorcery, mortal magics. I don't really understand mortal magics. I'm not an occultist, but humans and kindred can possess these sparks of power within their aura, which indicate that they possess magic.
What kind of magic? Like the kind that you well, the kind that I've read about, as in like not like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, spooky witch, boo boo boo, but like
Mortals that can throw fireballs at us, and kindred that can boil your blood.
Not the type I was thinking about, but
Yeah,
okay.
that sums it up, yeah.
It's
I was thinking more about Sabbath rituals and Astara and Yule and
oh,
yeah.
talk to
Oh,
a proper
this.
occultist about it. I'm no expert, but frankly, I think they'd write off most of that as superstitious nonsense.
Yeah, exactly. These aren't magic. These are just hippies doing their thing, pretty much.
Okay.
By
It's
the way,
again,
hi Francis, how's it going?
yeah, I know life. It
Mm.
sucks.
Now, do we really need to go inside tonight?
Francis, please take 6 bashing damage.
What the fuck?
You're about to
Who?
see. Bear in mind, that is after the bashing damage has been halved.
Wait, who's taking this?
Francis is.
Oh fuck.
Why?
You're about to see.
My God. Why are you here, Evan?
Take 5
Because
bashing damage.
something happened in the last scene.
Take 5 bashing damage. What the hell?
6 bashing damage.
No, I soaked 1.
Oh, shit. Okay. Francis, basically, you're having this rather pleasant conversation, and then you are ragdolled. Literally, there's a smash to the back of your head as it is impacted with incredible force, and you are sent caterwauling into the wall of your house, and that wall's about 15 feet away. As you girls turn to look, you will see this gentleman standing in the middle of the garden.
Oh,
He has just punched Francis into the house.
good evening, Seneso.
Uh, wait, out of character, is that Hennessy?
Yes?
I
So,
thought you were nice.
oh, I'm entirely lovely when I'm not dealing with traitorous snakes.
Oh, Francis.
Stand up, boy!
What the actual fuck are you doing?
I just had a rather pleasant conversation with a certain individual.
He kind of crooks his neck. Which one? There's 2 fucking dozen.
Perhaps I should take Katrina inside.
Take 5.
I'll
Is that
take Katrina inside.
is that take 5 and take 5 minutes?
As in, yeah, take a fucking break.
On the side note, you just got hit with 7 potents in the back of the head. Life's pretty. There's legitimate sense of wow, you're still conscious. I'm impressed.
Anyway, I will take Katrina inside and I'll tell her to go and I'll just try to pick what the fuck's happening.
You and I had a deal. I don't appreciate it when people go back on their deals with me.
Wait, what deal?
That I would bring you safely to a specific place in exchange for your discretion on going.
And you're expecting me to lie to a Justica?
I'm expecting you to show some backbone.
Look. If a Justica comes to me asking questions, do you expect me to lie to them? Would you lie to yours?
Mine, well, would know to trust me. Mine wouldn't inquisit me. Mine has a degree of sanity.
Well, I'm sorry if I do not possess that luxury.
interesting question. In this particular situation, no, though normally you could. Sorry, Katrina just asked, could Katrina use her boon to make him go away?
I pulled Katrina inside. We're not there. We're not listening. We're
I
out of it.
know, but like he's outside, like he's obviously mad at the dude, so
I
she's got a boon from him. I mean, can she just be like, can you just
Yeah,
like look the other way
just
for this time for
wait.
me, please?
Just wait.
And then
Just
like bat her eyelashes at him and make him go away.
Yes.
If she does that, Francis is gonna have words. Good damn.
I mean,
I
she's
that
got a
doesn't
period
make
four. Could
sense
that work?
because we're inside. We're not there. You don't hear what they're talking about.
She
I
can just
took you out of there.
she can activate heightened senses and hear them if she wants.
Yeah.
They're not talking quietly.
No, they're not.
You crumpled like a sail just because you couldn't convince someone who you attempted to lie to once. You were willing to throw me, my clan, my blood under the proverbial bus, Francis. The fact of the matter is, I'm getting mighty sick of those people who think because their clans think of themselves as high, they can treat my blood like they were nothing.
Okay, so am I supposed to martyr myself for your clan or mine? Because I'm being presented with two choices here.
You didn't have to say, Francis, how you got there. You could have said you were there. I'm pretty sure the information that came after would have been pertinent. The information as to how you got there was not. Now, I have had to pay a major boon to an insane woman in order to not only keep my position, but keep my clan from being inquisited by the Ventru.
Francis looks thoughtful at that.
Beg your pardon?
Francis actually looks rather thoughtful at that.
So we're 100% sure this would not work.
You could try it.
Yeah, but don't listen to him. You're gonna waste your boon like that. It's not gonna happen.
Bear in mind, he gave you the boon for being brave.
Fuck it. Katrina's gonna.
No, I'm gonna physically stop you from going out there. Listen, we talked about just stay out of that, and it might go away. Just
okay. If you want to physically stop her, make me a dexterity brawl roll.
motherfucker. Okay, wait. God.
Katrina's gonna use 1 point of her newly learned celerity to zip past her.
You have to use blood for that, and then you'll be hungry, dear.
She has 6 points. She'll be okay with 5.
Why brawl? Come on. Can't I use celerity too? Fuck
right.
that. I don't have any brawl.
You're at 5 because you spent it for the like little experiment you did, remember? When Francis showed you. You used it then, so
you can't use another one?
You'd be at 4, which is very close to hungry. If not hunger, depending on your self-control.
So I pretty much only roll the fucking dexterity because I don't have anything in brawl, right?
Yep. Does brawl produce +1 diff, or does it not? I'm not looking at my book.
No, it's a talent. It's a talent, so it doesn't increase the diff.
It's just your raw brawl, or your raw dex, rather.
I don't have anything in brawl. I only have dex.
That's fine. To roll your raw dex.
God, this is literally the reason Francis exists.
What, for relationship drama?
No,
well,
to make up for the fact that everybody else lacks combat stats in this clan.
That fails miserably.
You go to lunge at her, but yeah, no. Christina manages to get her way outside.
Okay, so did she have to use the celerity?
No.
Excuse me.
Nope, you don't, because she failed the roll. She grabs at you and
Okay,
misses.
cool.
The masthead immediately flicks to where you are, like flick.
Like, same for Francis. He's like, what the fuck is his face?
Okay, can I try and intimidate Katrina into getting back inside?
Give her her. Give
Katrina's
her.
gonna ignore him. I'm gonna
Okay,
ignore her. I mean, and Francis at this point.
kids, one at a time. Thank you. For a start, yes, you can make the roll to do that, Christina, after Katrina has had her go to do her thing, because she did manage to get outside.
Oh
So
fuck. Okay, okay. You're free to do whatever you want. God.
Katrina's gonna just like kind of wave at Hennessy and ask if she can speak to him for a moment.
What are you doing?
Hennessy's
She's
head.
not gonna answer him.
Come forward, child.
So is he gonna come up to speak to her?
So he beckons you to come down to him.
Okay. Um, she's gonna kind of turn away from Francis to speak to Hennessy, like kind of go like not between them, but just like face the house where he's not, or would face the opposite direction that he's in.
And Monique will go towards Francis and see if he's okay.
No. Depending what she says, he may have to roll self-control difficulty A for public humiliation.
You're not wrong. Depending on what she says, I'm waiting.
Katrina's gonna ask if there's any way she can use her minor boon or whatever. What was it called? Minor or like I think it was minor. Anyway, she's gonna ask if she can use her little baby boon to help Hennessy overlook this situation.
Hennessy, for the record, Francis, you immediately become aware that as she approaches Hennessy, there's another much larger Nosferatu shadowing her. You can see Riper's obfuscate, but he has a stake ready just in case, right next to her spine.
Yeah, he looks and says, don't even fucking think about it.
Hennessy puts up a hand and he says, why is it that every time I see you, every single time you're doing something brave?
I'm not intending to be, it's just seems to be the smartest option in this case.
No, it's
No,
not.
It's really not.
As a matter of
the
fact,
stupidest option.
as a matter of
Well,
fact, it's incredibly foolish.
well, it apparently worked for me last time when I spoke your name, so she's gonna
Yeah.
just like smile at him, like
Hennessy will put a gloved hand on her face. Once again, how tall is she?
5'3".
You and Hennessy are actually the same height. He's not tall at all. I always
Y'all are
emphasize.
so short?
Yeah, Hennessy's incredibly short.
Oh.
I'm tall in real life, so like I want my characters to all be small.
Yeah, that's my real life height also, but
He
my
actually
character is like
he
more.
actually has the short flaw on his sheet.
Oh.
But he will look up and he will say, Francis, you know that she speaks in a way that one would assume. How would he phrase this? He would say, Francis, her words have more virtue, true virtue, than I was expecting. There's a value in that sentiment.
He gestures, not really sure how to think, considering someone is saying that who just hit him with a full force of potent 7. He simply says, good.
You and I, Mr. Beaumont, for the record, when Katrina talks to him, his manner has noticeably softened. As in, he doesn't appear to be as hard as he is. He raises a hand, and you'll see the Nosferatu, who you will immediately recognize as Enigma, nod and put the stake back in the fold of his robe. But he will step back about 5 paces away, and he will say, "Are you always so honest with your feelings, Katrina?"
Seems to be more a curse than a gift, but
Then
apparently.
I hereby use my authority as seneschal to grant you under Mr. Delano the title of Harpy. Long may you serve in that role.
Excuse me, sir.
I have no doubt that Mr. Belmont will inform you exactly what that means after I have left.
You're just calling me that to annoy me at this point.
I beg your pardon?
You keep calling him Belmont.
Yes, he's just doing that to piss you off. It's great.
No, Francis literally says that.
Wait, do you mean to tell me your name isn't Belmont?
Well, you seem to flip between the two very flexibly, I noticed.
Ah, my apologies, Mr. Beaumont. We shall be fair in this. Would you like to P&E him?
Do I even need to?
You can.
I will hide my fucking senses.
Because you've got that godlike pool ever since the Auspectus skills and difficulty 3.
Multiple successes.
What you rolling for?
To tell Hennessy's emotional state.
Gonna try that too.
Okay.
Since I'm there.
Wow, he failed. You know exactly what he's feeling. That's interesting. Considering Hennessy, as you look at him, he doesn't have an aura.
I figured. Francis, I'd say even Francis expected that much.
Did I get anything?
How many successes did you get? You got... Yeah, you beat him. You got 2 successes. So yeah, you also tell how he's feeling. He is... The anger is slipping away from him. His general demeanor was very angry, very authoritarian. He was standing there. He was basically... I'm not going to say he was going to, like, do any... You get the distinct impression what he did to Francis was a show of, I have force. If I need to, I can use force. But something in Katrina rather, something in Katrina has mellowed him to the point that he is now much more agreeable. So the anger is slipping away from his general demeanor. Yeah, you don't know what it is, but she has done something that really pleased him, like giving a cat cream, something he really liked. So it's difficult. It's difficult when you're faced with something you truly like to be angry. And essentially, who knows? She could have just saved Francis an ass whooping.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but the Nosferatu dude wants to fuck you.
Needless to say, Mr. Beaumont.
He got a mask on right now. I don't know what he looks like.
Well,
needless to say, Mr. Beaumont, you have shaken my trust in you. Though you did so because of your own contemplates.
If you want to know honestly why I did it, put all the cards on the table because I'm trying to keep neonates out of a war with kindred that are over twice my age.
So you did this to protect them?
I've taken my licks. I apparently have taken another. And I have no doubt I'm going to take many more. The thing is, regardless of the choice I made, I would have likely survived. I'm not sure I could have said the same for everybody else involved in this mess.
However, this girl, who has only been a child as us for less than what? A decade?
A year.
A year.
Has shown that she has honor and integrity. These are things that are sorely lacking. There is no politics in her. There is no guile. There is a simple, simplistic honor. I find that appealing. This is why I have given her the gift that I have given her. Because frankly, I am getting tired of these politics, these backdoor dealings. The ivory tower is covered so far in mud that it is hard to see the white stone anymore. And I grow tired of it. I do not think that you intentionally threw my clan to the wind, Mr. Beaumont. He will get it right this time, Mr. Beaumont. However, the fact is, it is done. I have had to take my licks. I owe boons to entities, once again, who are terrifying in their magnitude and who are unhinged in their scope, because we play a dangerous game. I need to know whom it is who I can actually trust when the cards are placed upon the table, and unfortunately, my faith in you has been somewhat shaken. Just because Madame Gilles is powerful, because she has the ability to snap her fingers and make things happen, because the Camarilla has lifted her up on their shoulders, does not mean that she is not a psychopathic, ignorant, jaded bitch who should have been sent to hell a long time ago.
I'm gonna spend a willpower point to suppress that particular blood bond so I don't frenzy my ass off.
Oh God! Oh fucking God! Who are you doing this away? Evan, you sadist!
Bishop can actually say that everything Hennessy has just said in that one sentence is entirely true.
Yeah, Francis knows it's true.
Yes,
Jesus Christ,
but
she's gonna kill him based on how he fucking danced. The bitch is nuts.
yeah. Oh God.
So, with this in mind, I will leave you, Mr. Beaumont, and I will hope that my trust in you can be rekindled, because he once again looks at Katrina. I have trust in those in your clan. Come, Enigma, we're leaving. But he says that to midair, that the two of you cannot, unless, do either of you have Auspex 4? I don't think you do.
No, 3 I have.
Cool. In that case, you can't really see him, but he will turn on his heel and he will leave.
Before he does, Francis is potentially going to say something a little bit stupid, but he is kind of at his wit's end of this particular attitude, so he's going to say it. And he'll say, "This is the second time the Nosferatu have walked into my domain without giving a fuck."
Francis.
Oh God.
Ah, yes, and I shall inform Mr. Heavyside as to the care you give to his particular domain and the sanctity of his mind.
Oh no, that's precisely my point.
Mr. Belmont, I could have this domain stripped from you if you would like. Or Mr. Beaumont, I could have this domain stripped from you if you'd like.
So close.
Can you try to lighten the mood?
I'm just saying, if we're growing tired of the intrigue, perhaps we could come to an understanding to stop perpetuating it together.
Oh.
Look, I'm in a bind. That's literally what caused you to come after me, because that bind has caused your trust to be shaken in me based on the actions I've taken, because I'm in a fucking bind. And frankly, I'd rather be as far removed from it as possible. I don't really want any of this. I don't want a red lister here causing fucking trouble. I don't want my Justicar here. I don't want you to have to be coming to my domain and punching me in the face for the second time.
Technically, I woke when he punched you in the back of the head.
And we're counting it. And I'm not going to lie that I can tell you everything, but I'll tell you what I can tell you.
Maybe we should go inside?
You two should really go inside, because I've stated this to you numerous times. The more you know, the more danger you're in, and I'm already
Exactly.
I'm already
come
walking
on,
on a tightrope.
Katrina will go on inside.
Katrina just got made. She just had a good day.
Yeah, and I'd rather not have this gossiped.
I'm waiting, Mr. Belmont.
Cool. Yeah, fucking prick.
If it helps, for the record, you're going to start getting utility bills with the wrong name now.
Oh god.
No, he's not that. He's not that petty. Actually, I'll tell you what, Francis. Do you know why he constantly confuses the name? There's actually an in-character reason. It's because at one point before he met you, somebody texted him about you, and they used the name Belmont, so it's in his head.
Yeah, I know, because they're fucking assholes.
It was a PC, but okay.
Anyway, he'll just walk up to him. He actually does brief alongside. I can't tell you much because, well, any wrong piece of information, as I've been clearly shown this evening, I die. So, but if you want to know who tried to kill that Archon, I can't say who it is, but I can say if you want to look towards the guilty party, you only have to look at the domain they were staying in.
Oh, I am vehemently aware of this fact, Mr. Beaumont. After all, Enigma was listening in to your entire conversation because we'd hacked the laptop 2 hours earlier.
Then why did you send me in? Why are you claiming you're getting tired of intrigue when you're playing these 3 steps ahead games?
You'd almost swear I was a Nosferatu. Good afternoon, Mr. Beaumont.
Then don't come to me complaining when I fuck you over again.
Oh, I see. The rose always thinks that it knows how to be beautiful in the garden. That is an interesting conundrum to have. But, Mr. Beaumont, the fact of the matter remains. You may grow the tallest, you may grow the most beautiful. However, that merely means the rose that does so is liable to be plucked. We wish you a good evening.
Francis considers prolonging a conversation, but he just stops. He's kind of exhausted at this point.
To be fair, as you walk back towards your house, that went much better than you were thinking it would go. Continue. I'm going to be quiet now. I don't exist anymore.
Francis walks away.
Katrina is effectively in her room hiding from him.
Monique is pacing back and forth, don't know what the fuck is happening right now.
Francis walks into the living room. He has 5 bashing on him, so he will ask where Katrina is.
She went to her room. Are you alright?
I'm fine.
Well, she'll go and give you a hug.
He'll actually stop you. Don't. Bravery. Fuck his bravery is hypocritical as I am. Same old fucking conflicts in different words. I don't have time for this. I'm going to find Katrina.
Just what exactly are you planning to do?
No, but if she's going to be a harpy, I need to manage that before she says something that fucks herself.
Maybe
it's a reward, it's also a fucking trap.
I know, but you are pretty agitated at the moment. Do you think it's the right time?
Yes. You're forgetting that I'm her mentor.
Yes.
I'm getting real fucking sick of people speaking over me and disagreeing with me, not just as her mentor, but as a goddamn sheriff.
Agreed.
So let's get back to whatever the fuck we were doing and finish off this session.
All right, I will go get her, and you wait here, okay?
No, I'm going.
Fine. Do you want me to stay?
Wait down here.
All right.
If you're reading his aura, it's just red.
As expected.
He opens Katrina's room. I'm actually going to roll for his hunting just in case he can actually have the blood to heal this off appropriately.
Good
He
evening.
does. So he'll be slowly healing it off. So as you see Francis Katrina, you see that his wounds are slowly healing. You see the bones snapping back into place. It's bashing damage, so it's largely bruising and the stuff. It's not really cuts. It was also a blunt
Yikes.
object, so it's just the bruise slowly disappearing as the blood finds its way back into the veins and arteries, back to the heart, and the bones snapping back and relocating.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Okay, then what do you need?
Oh, I'm just tired of being a fucking cat's paw as well. But that's life.
Why do you think you're a cat's paw?
Oh, I just learned that the Nosferatu had done something in advance that meant my entire investigation was made partially irrelevant and my own breach of etiquette was made completely fucking pointless, considering they could have done that shit all by themselves. So
Well,
don't be fooled by his words of bravery. He's as bad as the fucking rest of them.
wait, what was the last bit you said?
Well, he says, don't be fooled by the talk of bravery. He's as bad as the fucking rest of them as far as I'm concerned at this point. Which is a shame.
He's saying Katrina's as bad as the rest of them?
No, the Seneschal's as bad as the rest of them.
I didn't hear the last bit. I'm sorry.
He's saying the Seneschal
Hennessy.
is as... No, he's saying the Seneschal's as bad as the rest of them. Which is a shame because I was leaning on him pretty hard. I get that he feels fucked over, but considering he just said he'd done the same to me, I'm not really feeling particularly concerned.
Why was it that he did this to you?
Because he's a Nosferatu, as if that justifies shit, while complaining about his clan's status. Is it fair? No, neither is the position I'm in. We fucking deal with it. But you're a harpy now, which is as much a reward as it is a trap.
I don't really know what that is, but let's not really worry about that. What?
Oh no, you'll need to know what that means if you're actually going to not die.
Okay then.
Basically, a harpy is a combination of news reporter, gossip monger, and general trendsetter. Delano can tell you something about it, but please do not tell him about what happened here.
No problem.
He'll ask,
That not an issue. I can just ignore the question or get around it.
just tell him there was an issue with me and the Seneschal and you helped resolve this, so he saw fit to reward you.
Very well.
I don't need this becoming the fucking headline of the week. I've got no less than 4 lethal enemies, one of which is within my own sect, so I really do not need the additional pressure.
Understood.
We just covered all specs, which means we covered all 3 clan disciplines.
What did you say?
We just covered all specs, which means we've actually covered all our clan disciplines.
What, you can't use your what now?
I say we've just covered all our 3 clan disciplines, I think.
Oh, yeah. We've covered all of them.
Well, tonight has been thoroughly fucking ruined, which really is becoming something of a trend, and I'm growing tired of it. So, I'll make this quick. There are a bunch of disciplines out there. I don't know all of them. I don't know how all of them work. But I'll give you a brief list of the ones I know, or have at least heard of.
I don't need to know the others. I just need to focus on the ones that I have right now.
Still, they may be applied against you, so you should know what they are. Particularly the one called Dominate.
Okay.
You know the tales about kindred vampires looking into your eyes and then you doing whatever they want? That is Dominate in a nutshell.
Okay.
They can make you forget things, make you believe you're a different person, make you do things completely contrary to what you believe in, or by just telling you to do it. Unless they're of thinner blood than you, then they can't do it at all. The problem is, I don't know how thick your blood is. So you could be completely immune to domination from any kindred in a city, or vulnerable to all of them. I don't know.
One of the people that I was left with after the embrace said that I was a. Hold on one second. He mentioned that I was an 11th generation. So would that have to do with it?
That's not the best number, but at least it's not at the bottom. 11th generation is thick enough to create a few more kindred down the line. The lowest is 13th.
Okay.
Then you start getting kindred known as thin bloods. They're strange and they're not, well, they're semi-kindred really. Half the time you won't even be able to make one if you're that thin-blooded, but you can still create kindred, you still have thick enough blood, but it's not great. You're vulnerable to domination from many kindred in this city. To be honest, the best way to resist dominate is, if you think someone's about to use it on you, just close your eyes. Very difficult to use domination on a kindred whose eyes are closed. They need to look at you. Some elders can bypass that rule. Most can't. Veteran Malkavians make the most use of it, although Malkavians can also drive you crazy, so be careful about that as well.
Wait, what now?
Yes.
No, I didn't. You spoke so fast.
Oh, he said veteran Malkavians make use of the power, But Malkavians can also drive you crazy, so keep that in mind.
Okay.
But yes. The only other two I deign to mention to you are, well, potence and fortitude. One is the power to hit things very hard, as the Seneschal did to me. And the other is to not get hit very hard, which apparently I have not yet mastered.
Katrina's gonna kind of try and hide a giggle at that one. I mean, she's not laughing to be mean. She's just, I mean, that was kind of amusing.
OMG, dude. Seriously?
Did you know he had someone behind you ready to kill you at a moment's notice?
I don't think I would.
Auspex is useful for seeing people like that. His clan can hide. Our sight can break through it. I'll give him full credit, he did gesture for them to stand down, but only after I threatened them. You may have noticed I was saying don't even fucking think about it to thin air. That was the person.
Okay. I don't really have much else of a response for that, but
He wanted to make a statement of power, but regardless of who he is, he won't attack a Toreador on my domain. He can do a lot of things because of his position. With that, if he wants to see someone with backbone, that's all one way to go about it. If nothing else, there'd be one dead Nosferatu at the end of it.
what are you okay? Like you're completely like just going back to everything like nothing happened. Are you okay? Like
None of this matters in the grand scheme of things. This was just a spat.
true, but still.
He got fucked, I got fucked. That's not really relevant anymore because we both have larger issues to deal with. And I'm not going to hide things from people above both of us. Not when he's acting like this.
Well, I'm glad things didn't go worse than or bad considering they could have gone worse. So glad things didn't go any further south than they did tonight.
But yes, you're a harpy. Talk to Delano about that.
What now?
You're a harpy now. Talk to Delano.
Are you angry?
Look at my aura and check. That's a very sarcastic statement he makes, by the way. He's very clearly angry.
What is wrong with you?
Excuse me? That's not really something you want to be saying to me right now.
Well, I'm saying it. I mean, that's it. She just said, "Well, I'm saying it."
You know, if I went any way like the Seneschal, that could have got a new state.
I didn't understand you. I'm sorry.
You know, if I were anything like the Seneschal, that could have got a new state.
Well, it didn't.
You're luckier than most. Remember that.
Katrina's gonna kind of bristle a little bit and just kind of sit up a little straight and just kind of. You can tell she's kind of like shutting off a bit, and she's like, "I'd like to go to bed now. Have a good night, Mr. Beaumont."
It's 12 a.m.
She's going to repeat herself. And she's gonna turn to her I guess Frances is just staying there, like standing there. So she's gonna turn to her computer and start pulling up her art programs to work on stuff.
He's gonna have self-control. He's already pushing his buttons at this point, and he's on the verge of frenzy.
Oh god.
He gets 3 successes, he's fine.
I have no idea what he just said. I don't know.
Oh, Francis almost
He
frenzied.
rolled for self-control because, yeah.
Why?
Why?
She
Do you
said
hear yourself? Do you hear yourself?
yeah.
You're really pushing his beast right now.
Yes, it's like she completely disregarded everything said. Oh god.
Like he's clearly mad at her. She's just like, I'd like to go to bed now so he can go cool off. I mean, she's gonna go work on her shit or sit and work on her stuff.
Yeah, he just casually takes it, tosses it against the wall, grabs her by the shoulders and say, "You want to know what's fucking wrong with me? Maybe it's the fact that I'm subservient to a fucking maniac and I'm fighting a war that involves people twice my fucking age, and now I'm getting fucking shit from the people I'm trying to fucking protect."
I wasn't giving you shit.
Do you know what
I
happened
tried
in
to
my
help.
first fucking month here? I took a fucking car bomb for my clan.
You took a what?
He took a car bomb.
Very well.
I almost got my head cut off by a fucking Justicar trying to keep you out of this shit, and you keep walking back in.
I tried to help you. Excuse me.
No, not excuse you, because I'm responsible for you, and if you die, that's on me.
Well, it would lighten your load a little bit.
No, it really wouldn't.
Then what am I supposed to do? Just sit and hide from everybody? See you getting into a fight? Getting your head bashed in? What would cause a hell of a hemorrhage and kill somebody?
Yeah,
Wait,
I'm already
frankly,
dead.
I'm not done.
I'm not done. Let me be fucking clear. The things you know, they're gone. They're dead. They don't actually even fucking matter at this point in time because you're in a whole new fucking world filled with people who can kill you on a fucking whim. And I'm trying really fucking hard to make sure that never happens. Filled with 3 different fucking kindred armies that would be more than happy to fucking burn you at the fucking stake. Because as far as they're concerned, you're a fucking no one, a rogue embrace. A know-nothing fledgling who's just another mouth to feed. And I'm trying really, really fucking hard to keep those walls from the fucking door, and you are not helping.
Get out.
You're in my domain. You don't tell me what to fucking do.
Then put me down and let me out.
No, I can certainly put you down, though. But you're not going anywhere.
I'm going home.
Trying to put a stake through your chest.
Wait, what?
He says, try and I'll put a stake through your chest.
Then so be it.
This is what the Seneschal considers bravery. How's he survived for the past 800 years? Probably by not following through.
I wasn't trying to be brave.
What are you trying to be?
Helpful, but that obviously didn't work out, did it?
I appreciate the help. I don't appreciate you constantly wandering back into 800-year-old messes. That shit's above even my pay grade.
Let me go back to my house.
Nope. You're under my accounting. I don't think you understand what that means. That means I'm in charge. You don't have to like it. You can hate me, but it is what it is. And I'm not letting a fledgling who barely understands traditions run around. You'll be dead within a month. Happy or not.
I'd just like to be in my own house for the night.
Again, that's not how this works. Do you know what the best part about this entire situation is that you've had more freedom than most fledglings. This actually amuses him.
Wait, what?
He says, do you want to know what the best part about this is? Is that you've had more freedom than most fledglings. That's kind of amusing from my perspective, although I imagine it's quite horrifying for you. I mean, fuck, you've got the entire clan looking out for you. That's more than most.
It wasn't asked for. It's appreciated, but it wasn't asked for.
To be fair, do many of us really ask for this?
It seems like that's one of your tenets. You have to ask for it.
Really? I don't recall agreeing to this situation.
Not the specific situation, I mean the embrace.
You're missing the point. I didn't ask for the embrace. You didn't ask for the embrace. And I doubt Monique asked for the embrace. But here we are.
Katrina's just gonna kind of like turn and just start trying to organize some of her shit. Like she wants to be done with this conversation and she wants to be by herself.
Roll me strength roll.
What?
Roll me strength roll, because he's actually got his hands on you. And guess what discipline Francis has? He has potence.
I didn't know I have to roll a strength, but where the hell is my phone? Give me a minute, I gotta find my phone. Oh, there it is.
That's a pretty tight situation we got there.
Okay, so she just rolls the amount of dice she has for strength.
You roll strength and your brawl stat. If you don't have brawl, then just roll strength.
Wait, what?
Do you
Strength
have...
and brawl.
Strength and brawl. Okay.
If you don't have brawl, just strength.
Okay. A 2 and a 7.
Oh, not even close.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, Francis is pretty trivial grasp on you. He's very, very strong despite his slender frame.
Slender
Actually,
man.
he's just kind of holding you with one arm. He's not even using all of them. He actually is he's more annoyed at all of this than anything else.
Please let me go, Francis.
You know, the most truthful answer is I'm not in a position to.
What did you say?
You know, the most truthful answer is actually I'm not in a position to.
Your hand is on my shoulder. What do you mean you're not in a position to? You've got me staying here. Whether I like it or not, I can't go back home for the night. What am I gonna do? Give myself 1,000 paper cuts? I have canvases, not even paper right now. Oh, printer paper, but like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you mean?
Oh, I've seen more creative rooms to commit suicide in than this. That's not really my concern, though.
What was it you said?
He said, well, I've seen more creative rooms in which to commit suicide than this one, but that's not really my point.
I'm not going to off myself. Why won't you let go of me?
You want me to be blunt? It's because you're in my county and you're acting out of line. Simple as that.
Because what?
It's because you're in my county and you're acting out of line. Simple as that.
So what, we just stand here until the sun rises?
No, if I'm forced into that situation, I stake you, and that becomes a lot simpler for me. But you don't want that, really, you don't. I don't say that to be cruel, I say that as a warning. You don't want that, I don't want that. That's the worst possible situation, but you can't leave.
You already have what... You asked. I'm not leaving. Just let go of me. Like, she's being honest. She's like, I'm not leaving.
You'll let go.
What?
You'll let go.
You're gonna say thank you, and she's gonna turn and try and, like, sit at her desk and do work and ignore everything.
Welcome to it.
Welcome to what?
You've heard of the term jihad, right?
Heard of the what?
The term jihad. I hear it's quite popular tonight.
I think so. Like the holy pilgrimage to Mecca or some shit?
It's actually quite an old term. And actually it's quite straightforward in its meaning. It means the struggle.
Yeah, the welcome party's overdue.
It's the war of ages. You walked straight into it.
Not intentionally. Either way, that doesn't matter.
It does, because it'll get you killed.
Well, we all face final death at one point or another. Let's just let me enjoy work for a little bit, please.
Tell that to the Prince of London. I'll leave you to it.
Thank you.
But keep in mind, this is neither something you can confront nor you can run from. So ask yourself how you're going to deal with it. Because I'm not going to be able to keep helping you.
Please shut the door on your way out.
The attitude on this one.
I mean, she's trying to be fucking calm. Like, she's being calm at this point. She's just done.
Oh shit, that actually really triggers him. So,
Really?
she's using a stylus.
She wasn't being mean. She just said, "Please shut the door on your way out." Like,
That's
she
literally the equivalent of telling him to fuck off. I'm not gonna lie, that's actually really rude.
Yeah,
How is that?
She's being a real brat.
That's
Really.
actually super duper rude, yeah.
In all honesty, I wasn't trying to have her act like a brat. Like, I was just trying her to say, "Please shut the door on your way out." Like,
She's been
not
like a
being
bratty.
mean.
Huh? She's acting like a really bratty teenager because the car her dad bought her is the wrong color. That's what it reminds me right now.
Oh my god. Alright. If you don't want her to act like a brat, I assume she won't say that. Because if she does, I'm going to have to stab myself with a side stylus.
Let's not.
Then don't say that.
Yeah.
Okay, but she won't. Like, okay, she won't say that.
Because otherwise he's going to say some very interesting things that are probably going to confuse the fuck out of her. He'll just close the door.
Can she say thank you for him shutting the fucking door?
No.
No. No.
Oh,
Don't.
okay.
No,
Okay.
don't say anything.
Yeah, sometimes silence is the best.
This is
Silence
one of
is
those
gold.
situations where Francis is on the verge of literally killing you for his beast. We should probably not poke that bear. Oh, good. Okay, Francis walks downstairs. He's clearly on edge.
Yeah, Monique is
His
waiting.
legs are protruding. His eyes are kind of slightly dilated.
Well, I didn't hear most of it because, I heard the sound that you were shouting, but he wasn't eavesdropping. In any case, so he doesn't know most of it.
Francis walks down up to Meek and says, "She's going to get both of us fucking killed."
Yeah, I think we need to adjust our tactics in her, so we say, education.
Also tempted to fucking stake her tonight.
Look, I know it's too much, but
The Seneschal fucked this hard.
yeah, I'm having a really hard time liking him at this point.
I leaned
But
on him. It's true. I had screwed him over inadvertently.
was that your intention?
No,
Exactly.
but I have
That
greater
matters.
powers to fucking report to.
I know it wasn't your intention.
And he fucking used me as a cat's paw so he can take his shit and shove it up his ass.
I understand that. We have to make sure, however, that we don't turn Katrina against us. You saw them being chummy with each other.
He's trying to encourage her, quote, brave attitude. She's more likely to say something that will get her killed.
Yeah, about that. Right now, we need clan unity above everything, and we have to make sure that's not going to be a problem. So far, we're failing pretty hard.
No, the Seneschal's fucking us over, which really leads me to question whether he actually believes in our clan at all, because I'm not sure he does.
Do you think this was planned?
Oh, he planned to hit me. He wanted to make a statement of power while breaching my fucking domain. If he wants to play it like that, he shouldn't be surprised when I continue to fuck him over and he has to continue to pay boons to a more powerful Toreador than me.
I just hope that this doesn't make Katrina think of you any less, just because he walked in, like barged in.
In a worst case scenario, I have to blood bond her. I don't want to do that. That's a pretty brutal thing to do. And I am not.
Unfortunately, it's a possibility that we'll have to consider if this continues in this manner.
When she understands what the blood bond is and that I gave up my free will for her, she will understand just how extreme this game is.
Well, she will have to understand without explicit knowledge of whatever is happening.
Maybe she'll never understand. I don't really care if she hates me, to be honest. All I care is that she's alive and able to continue being a Toreador. If she needs to hate me for that to happen, I don't care.
We'll work this out, okay? We just have to... Just tell me what you need from me. How can I help with that?
If she decides to talk to you, just tell me what she's telling you.
You got that.
I don't like taking the I'll spook them with knowledge. Well, I'll spook them by telling them things I shouldn't know approach, but if I have to do that, I don't really know how to approach her at this point, considering she seems horrendously ignorant of her situation, despite being told on no less than 3 separate occasions.
I blame the Seneschal for that. Like, we're telling her what is expected of her, and then she does the complete opposite and she's being rewarded for it.
I think I know what she wanted to do. I didn't think it was... Well, it wasn't smart. It could have been if she played it correctly.
I don't think she's in a position to know how to play it. Hell, I'm not, and I've been in this game far longer than her.
Well, now she's in a position where she'll have to know. That's why I'm pointing her in the direction of Delano. But if she decides to spread this info, I'm going to fucking mutilate her.
Yeah, I don't know how the fuck are we going to contain this. Like, okay, he's my siren. I can keep it from him.
Here's the thing:
She,
if she doesn't
doesn't know
screw
him.
me, if she doesn't screw me in front of Delano, then she's fine. If she screws me in front of Delano, then I don't know. I may have to stake her. I may have to blood on her. I need to find some way to get the message across that this is not how you fuck over the guy who's literally
Do you
giving
think
up.
we should deal with it? Do you think one of us should be there when they speak with Delano? I could be there, or I could have Fleur be there. I mean, I know his tells. I might be able to misdirect the conversation.
Maybe it'd be best if you were there.
Necessary. Man, this is just we get a moment of calm and then a bigger storm hits every fucking time.
Seneschal's bitching about how the camera was eating itself. Maybe he could stop fucking punching me every other week.
I don't know why he's trying to do that. You're the sheriff. If anything, he should be affirming your strength in front of others, not trying to put you down.
He's making it ever more likely that I just fuck him over in front of a venture. Because here's the thing: if he puts me in a lose-lose situation, if he puts me in a situation where I have nothing left to lose, I have no reason not to fucking take a shot at him. And maybe he'll live. He'll probably live. But did he even want to risk dying in the first place?
Why is he trying to force your hand, though? What is he getting out of this?
He wanted to make a statement to me, and I get it. I screwed him, but this was not the way to do it.
Yeah, but from what I hear, this wasn't the first time. And whether he likes it or not, you are the sheriff, and you are. Oh, the least modicum of respect.
He takes issue with me breaching somebody's domain while I'm acting under my official fucking duties. Meanwhile, he has no problem breaching my domain over and over again for no other reason to make a fucking point. So yes, he can get fucking stuffed. If he wants to talk about fairness, he could begin by setting the fucking trend for himself. Because making a fledgling a harpy and attacking the sheriff is not the way to do it.
Well,
if he wants to be fucking Prince, he's going to need people like me to back him. Because he wants to be Prince. This is just him acting on the same fucking frustration that is blindingly obvious to the entire city.
Well, he has a weird way of going about it then.
It's weird. The Ventru fucked him, they fucked me. You think that'd be something to bond over?
Come on, the Ventru fuck everyone.
Not always. I have known good Ventru. But this is... He's supposed to be the rock of the city. And if he can't do that... I don't know who's really going to be next in line. Because if he can't be Prince and the Venture are going to falter if they falter.
I really don't want to think about it. At least
we have Anarch Sabat and a Red Lister in a city with a single fucking Alistar looking into it.
Yeah, we can't afford fighting amongst ourselves, and yet, here we are.
I'm going to continue to look into the issue. Maybe he'll begin to trust me again later. But if he doesn't forget slights, neither will I. And I'm going to keep fucking track. And then when I hit as hard as he does, he's going to get a punch in the face. And we'll see that mask crack.
Just be careful with it, okay? Like, Nosferatu are always, I don't know, always one step ahead with information somehow. I think we have to try and...
And I guess it's good I can rip open their minds like a fucking can opener then.
Francis, please. We have to find another way. We need to try and bridge this gap.
This city is testing my patience, and the very
I know.
individuals that should be helping me are fucking me over at every turn, while I'm trying to get them fucking results.
Look, I can't even imagine how that feels, honestly. But we have to pull through, okay? It's not like you have a chance. Like, you don't have a choice here. You're the sheriff. You have duties. I understand that. How can I help you? What can I do?
I don't know. I really don't know.
He's gonna take his hand and hold it. Look, whatever you need, I'm here. Just ask.
I just need to sit down, I think.
What?
I just need to sit down, I think.
Well, yeah. You took a hit. You have to recover and compose yourself. And then do what you have to do. I suppose, like always.
Francis will take a seat in the living room somewhere. He is mentally very tired, so he will
Do you want a drink?
I think it would frustrate me more that I have to throw it up later, so I think I'll pass. But thanks. And I think if there's nothing else, we can end the scene.
I don't know. Are we staying or am I leaving?
You can stay. And I think with that, we can end the scene right there.
Yeah.
Thank you players for playing. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you all next time. Goodbye.